It's Perp back with another video, and I just finished the final episodes of Ozark. This is Ozark season 4, part 2. If you haven't checked out my part 1, check that out in the description below. I'll have a link for that. Let me know how you guys feel about this season overall in the comments below. Cause man, I definitely have some thoughts about part 2, man, and how they set up this whole season and how they waited for certain scenes to be revealed. With part 1, it opened up with a whole crash, and I want to get into that because I feel some type of way about that. And this, we got to talk about the ending, man, because I feel like, I don't know, in my head, I'll have to wait to see how people are talking about this finale and the ending on like Twitter, and I'll probably like look at some videos during the week or something like that, or over the weekend, because I definitely think it's going to be controversial. I definitely think it's going to be mixed with some people. I definitely did not see it ending the way it ended, but let's start from the beginning. I was going to have some visuals and stuff like that to give to y'all, but I just wanted to kind of talk my shit and just really get to what we need to get to. So, starting with episode 8, and I love the title of it, because it picked up, you know, um, Wyatt is dead, Darlene is dead, Javi is just out here wilding, just a lot of shit's going on. You have Navarro, him trying to make this deal with the feds, getting caught up, and them kind of double crossing him. Marty and Wendy are continuously trying to get out of this, but continuously getting deeper and deeper into shit at the same time. So this picks up where part 1 left off, where you see we spend a lot of time just focusing on Ruth's character. Ruth's character is a big part of part 2. She's like kind of the main focus, I would say, in some aspects. And seeing how she's just kind of taking everything in with Wyatt's death, she's ready to just go on a rampage. She wants revenge. She's bloodthirsty at this point. And I like throughout the whole entire episode, she's listening to Nas, she's listening to Illmatic and stuff like that. That's really dope to me. Um, she's sitting there contemplating, is this the right thing to do? But she ends up killing Javi, and that causes a whole domino effect of things to go wrong with for the birds and just everybody involved and whatnot. And I like how this part kind of played out. I felt like it was a very strong start. There was some weird things that happened, like they brought back Rachel, which when I saw her get revealed, I think it was like episode 10 or 11, maybe it was 11. Um, I was just like, okay, that's a little random, I guess. I completely forgot about her character, so when she popped up, it really didn't do anything for me. It was kind of just to go along with just Ruth's whole arc and whatnot. But I really like how personal this part was, because you see all these characters at their downfall, when they're really down bad, especially with Wendy's character, and just seeing her true colors and seeing her father come back into the picture, seeing her father kind of team up with Mel. Mel's been a problem since part 1. He was always, you know, really nosy, poking his nose where it don't belong and stuff like that. And he ended up meeting his demise in this series. Definitely in that ending, which is a controversial kind of thing. We'll get into the ending. Trust me, we'll get into the ending towards the end of this review. But like, I like the episode 8 where it's called Cousin of Death. That was really dope. Just her just reflecting on Wyatt and just just reflecting on her own life and trying to just grasp some type of like power back. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to just get something back. And after she kills Javi, she realizes, really didn't fix anything. And it was a mistake because that falls back on Marty and Wendy and just their whole family. And throughout this whole part, you have Marty and Wendy clashing with Ruth and whatnot, and Ruth trying to get one up on the birds, because she's kind of just fed up with the shit. She's just fed up with everything, fed up with the lies, and she's definitely has learned from Marty. Marty shows in this part that he genuinely cares about Ruth. It's just what they do always ends up getting somebody killed or hurt, and but Ruth also has to take accountability for herself and her own mistakes, and Marty kind of checks her on that as well. But a lot of the blame is with the birds. They did fuck up a lot of people's lives. When we get reintroduced to um Wendy's father, he comes with this whole kind of church gimmick, but ends up losing his religion throughout this series. And we really see his true colors and how he pretty much feels about Wendy. He always hated Wendy, and you know, it makes sense why Wendy is it has become such a control freak. She always had to be in control. She got to a point where, they lost their kids, and that just drove her off to the edge, and she wanted to put herself in an insane asylum, just like Ben did, kind of just putting herself away, from everything else. And it was just crazy to see just her coming to that realization, even though we the viewers have seen this kind of coming ever since season 1. We kind of just saw Wendy kind of descend into like this control freak, and it's crazy. And this is why I really like Marty's character, because he's always calm and collective, even when he's like kind of losing his shit. He never kind of just goes over the top. You know what I'm saying? He did in one episode. I think it was like episode 10. It was like, yeah, it was the third episode in this second part where they're stuck in traffic and stuff. And, that shit does get annoying when you're stuck in traffic and people are beeping behind you and stuff. It's just like, obviously I can't go nowhere because it's backed up, so there's nothing we could really do. And he ends up getting to a fight with this guy, and really just all that pent up aggression and all that, shit built up is just getting to him, and he just lets it off on this guy. And that was a great scene. And I also like that Marty gets to a point where he gets to step in for Navarro, and get to see what it's like to be like a cartel leader. And he even has a moment where he could have been stuck in this lifestyle. They could have really replaced Navarro with Marty, but he doesn't want that. He never wanted to stay in this business. He just wanted to launder money and in this certain amount of time and get the hell out. And you know, and it's interesting too to see them continue to really focus on Marty and Wendy's relationship and their marriage, and how through all the bullshit that they put each other through, saying, especially with Wendy, because there were points where like Marty was just really fed up with Wendy, but he just loves her too much, and they love each other. They definitely love each other no matter what, because they're both doing things for the same reason, to protect their children, with Jonah and Charlotte. And they kind of take a back seat in this second part as well. They had more of a bigger part, I would say, in part 1, but they've always kind of been the main focus, the main drive on why they want to do what they want to do, and why they want to get on the straight they want to get on the straight path. They don't want to continuously have to do this and all the bodies that are stacked up, especially with Ruth, and she kind of dealing with that, like all the bodies that are being stacked up. Because there was so many times where, going back to Ruth's character real quick, there's so many times where characters would mention like, oh, you're like a little you're kind of like Marty, or you're almost gonna be like the next like Darlene or something like that. So that was always interesting to me, how they handled Ruth's character and just how they handled our big three, that being Wendy, Marty, and Ruth, and just how they all kind of similar, but Ruth wouldn't just do the same things that the birds would do. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit more grimy. And it's always dope to me why I like this show is because, you got a lot of crime dramas where, like, a lot of the main characters will have to get their hands dirty, or, you know what I'm saying? In this case, they never really kill anybody like with their bare hands. They just get a lot of people killed indirectly. It's just certain things that they say with people, and it's wild, man. I really, but overall, what I want to say with that is just I really liked how they've fleshed out those three characters, and how they're all doing something similar, as far as their drives being about family. You know, it's always been about Wyatt. That's the closest person to Ruth. She lost everybody. All she has is three. They really haven't done anything with three's character at all. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. As far as Jonah, like I said, he takes a back seat. The kids take a back seat, but they are still the focus. The whole political stuff that they kind of try to set up in like the third season doesn't really do nothing for me. That's, like I said, my only gripe with this part two is the whole reintroduction, I should say, of Rachel. For me personally, like, maybe if I go back and rewatch the whole series, maybe it'll hit different for me, but it didn't do anything for me. I felt like you could have left her out completely, and it really wouldn't really change anything. But let's talk about this ending real quick, because man, this final season was, I mean, this final episode was pretty crazy. I was kind of on the edge of my seat. I was a little kind of pissed. Let's talk about that crash scene though. So that crash scene was pretty nasty. I don't know if I said that I feel like everybody would have came out unscathed or something like that, because I don't think that would have been the way that the birds would have all died or something like that. But it's crazy how they did kind of fake us out with Wendy. Wendy seemed like she was going to die in that moment, but they kind of, you know, got out of that unscathed, and they had to get right to it was kind of weird. It was really weird how they set that whole scene up. I, I could have done with all that. It just, I don't know. It was a pump fake. It was definitely a pump fake, and I could see people being kind of irritated by that. I'm a little irritated by it, because it's just like the crash really did nothing. It really was. It was just there to kind of get the people to just be like, "Oh man, I just want to see what happened with that crash." But they waited till like the last episode. They could have literally just, I don't know. I feel like that could have been handled better. Other than that, really dope season overall, really dope series. I feel like everybody's story got wrapped up. I do see them possibly bringing this back for like a sequel series, possibly with Jonah and like Charlotte. That would be interesting. I'd be all for that. But like I said, like all the characters that we've known up until this point wrapped up. It's sad to see Ruth gone. That was a really sad death. I can see definitely some people being emotional. The birds kind of getting out clean. That's something I didn't really kind of expect, but like I said, the birds have been really lucky for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Luck has really been on their side. They've been able to just to talk their way out of certain situations and survive to the very end, and they're like the kind of like the last people standing, you know. And I could see some people being upset that Ruth dead, but she brought it upon herself. She should have never killed somebody that was a part of a cartel. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty much her death sentence. And I feel like she, even though she had her guard down, I think she was just okay with whatever came with it. And that's why I can respect Ruth's character, because she always kept it real and she always was honest to people. But before I get out of here, I almost forgot to mention that they showed what happened to Ben. That was a really sad scene. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Like, I want to know your thoughts on what was better. What was better for y'all, part 1 or part 2? Because to be honest, I don't know which one I prefer, to be honest. If I'm really like thinking about it, there's aspects that I really like about part 2, but I feel like part 1 was a lot stronger. Just the whole, FBI and just that, I think a lot of people could be turned off by that as well. I think a lot of people may have issues with that and some inconsistencies maybe. I, the performances were really well done throughout this. I think, and for the most part was really well written. I would definitely put this in my top 10 of like Netflix shows. I think it'll definitely deserves to be in that spot. I definitely see I predict that they could definitely do a sequel series maybe in like 2 or 3 years. It might be too extra. Like I said, they've wrapped everybody's story up, so you really don't need to do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But overall, let me know what you guys think about it. I thought this was a really good season, the way they kind of wrap things up. I still gotta kind of process the ending, because I wasn't expecting it to kind of be a happy ending for the birds and it being a sad ending for like Ruth. I thought Ruth was going to have that happy ending. It's crazy that things were starting to look up for her with her getting Darlene's estate, and she was going to build a whole house from scratch, from the ground up, and didn't even get to see that all the way through. But like she said in this, it was never really about the money. I really like how all the storylines came to a close, even some side characters, and most people had closure. Let me know if there's any issues you had with this finale. Like I said, man, just let me know. I don't want to drag this video on too much longer. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.